Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 2, Lille 1. Chelsea have done it. We have qualified for the last 16 of the Champions League. Probably the biggest win of the season so far in terms of importance. Of course, Chelsea have to make it difficult at the end there and leave us all sweating. But the full-time whistle eventually came and Chelsea have done it. A big performance and I think a big win. Yes, Lille for majority of that game weren't a threat and Chelsea were in a lot of ways able to play our game. But I think the response Frank got from the players, the way the team played, how expressive we were in that first half, I think the way we hounded the ball, I think was a big thing for me. The aggression for large parts of that game, I think was brilliant to see. And we got the 2 goals in the first half that eventually done the job. Yes, there are concerns. This is probably the most uncertain Chelsea team you're ever likely to watch. This is a side that can, at times, look brilliant and look expressive and look like they can destroy teams. And then at other points, look like they can come unstuck very easily. That's not a surprise. What is it, 3 or 4 months into the season, is it? But considering Saturday, big response. I loved seeing Rudiger back in the defence. It was great to see him back. He made a few big challenges in the game. I think him and Zuma worked pretty well during the night. I think they had a good relationship. I think it's going to be interesting to see both of them when they're tested. Maybe more on Saturday against Bournemouth and of course when we play Spurs. But I thought both of them performed well, especially Rudiger coming through the game unscathed. I predicted Dave to come back into the team and he's a big game player and he scores a big goal. I thought he had a good night as well and I think that it's just that experience level and knowing how to perform in big games. I think that you can't go wrong with a player like Dave. I know a lot of you in the comments, of course, are so excited to see Reece James start, and he will be starting a lot of games this season. But I think it's so valuable what Dave can bring to this Chelsea side, and I don't think we should just discard it because on big nights like tonight where we need a big performance, Dave gave it and gave a big goal as well, a big header. As well, Tammy, 13th goal of the season. I thought he didn't have a lot to do, but it's so, incumbent on a striker when they do get that one chance. Yes, it's, a tap in and it was brilliant work all the way around towards that goal. But Tammy, great for him. Big night, scores a big goal, massive smile across his face when he looked so angry at the end of Everton. So a great end to the group stage for him as well. I think other top performers, Christian Pulisic, I thought was wonderful tonight. I think Lille couldn't get near him and I'm sure they would have been so relieved when he eventually went off the pitch because they couldn't handle him and he was unlucky not to get a goal tonight. But I think he had a hand in that first goal. I think he performed really well and continues to just be more of an influence in games. I can only really think of when he's been starting games and has come into the team recently. I think Manchester City was the only game where I thought he'd really dropped. I think in every game he's offering something even if he isn't scoring, which of course is you want from players. I think probably man of the match overall is N'Golo Kante. He was absolutely everywhere. That's not a revelation at all, but tonight he really in a lot of ways ran that game. He was bursting with speed, acceleration. He had a hand in creating space for that first goal. I think all round, everything he did really helped the team across the board. And I think that was helped by the reintroduction of Jorginho and that midfield three, which I think a lot of us just love seeing because of the balance it gives you and the control it gives you. Chelsea were able to attain possession really well when they needed to in that first half and create chances. I love the way how when one player would lose the ball, either Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante would be hounding to get the ball back, and that was great mentality to see and aggression to Chelsea's game. And Frank Lampard was asking for more shots and he definitely got that within the first few minutes. Emerson had a shot saved, so Pulisic had one that just went wide, and it only felt like a matter of moments till Chelsea eventually got the goals, which they did. And I think that's the frustration, is it, when we look towards the latter end of the game where we're hoping to get a third goal. Frank makes those changes. He brings on Michy, he brings on Mount and HUDSON-ODOI. I think Chelsea just got too comfortable there, and it was typical that Loic Remy on his return to Stamford Bridge would be the one to score. Once again, just too easy for a player to step inside the box and have all of that space to pick out place. It's a brilliant finish, right on the crossbar. Keeper can't do anything about it, but it puts us under pressure, and we got super lucky at the end there where Loic Remy wanted to get a second when he probably should have squared it, and then it would have been a disaster, wouldn't it? But I think overall, my feelings are it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant for the team, the development of the team, the confidence of the team they'll get from that big win tonight. Kurt Zouma said before the game, in his press for the game, that he believed it was like a final. And I'm sure for a lot of players, like it was. And for a large period of the game, they performed like that. It's a challenge this year of extending those periods of games that we've talked about so much this season, where it's instead of a full 90 minutes of concentration as well, because we know in the Champions League, one mistake you get punished, even against what looked like for a majority of it a quite poor and passive Lille side. And there was doubts about Lampard, doubts about whether he could get this team, and Chelsea, this team this season, could get through the group of death, and that's what they've done. Ajax haven't made it through, Valencia winning there. I think it shows how decent of a side Valencia are and how experienced they are, but it's I think it rounds off a really good group, I think, for Chelsea. Considering where it started and where it ended, I think it's a sign of progression for Frank Lampard. And we move on to Bournemouth now. I think the challenge for Lampard is not only in team selection, but sort of using that aggressiveness and that mentality we had in the opening half of the game where we got 2 goals. It's replicating that against Bournemouth on Saturday, who aren't going to sit back as much, I don't expect. They are going to come, they're going to want to play football. And it's about challenging ourselves to replicate that in intensity, and then win the game and not have those lapses again, because you're asking for trouble when you do that, as we've seen, and we've been punished many times this season. But it's a big win, sigh of relief. We're through to the knockout stage. The draw's on Monday. It could be a big team, as you expect in the Champions League, but I think a big night overall. Really happy, really relieved. We move on now to Saturday. So those are my thoughts on the game, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.